Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday back bends class. So today we're going to start in a seated position, and I decided moments ago we're going to do the whole class on the ground, so no standing today. So we're going to get started just with some shoulder rotations. So reaching them forward, bringing them up, back, and down, trying to get through your full range of motion of those shoulders and those sockets there. Nice and slow. If you're like me, this is where there's a bit of crunching happening, just getting it all warmed up. As we go, you can start articulating through your spine a little bit more, arching backwards, and then coming and rounding forwards in the front. Yeah, all the way around. Good, and then we're gonna start getting our elbows involved. Making those nice exaggerated arm rotations. Yeah, even bigger now. Full arm circles. Good. Now we're going to start in the opposite rotation. So going the other way with our shoulders, starting with the small ones again. Starting to get those elbows involved. Nice and big. And all the way with the arms. Okay, just let those arms go for a second. Okay, now we're going to go into some side arm reaches. So you can bring one hand to the ground or your elbow, depending on your flexibility. The other arm is going to extend straight. We're going to be reaching over. The top arm stays nice and straight. And we're going to use the side abs to come back up. We're going to go nice and slow, one side to the other. Try to make sure that you're not dipping in front, keeping your shoulders stacked to the ceiling. Nice and straight. Yeah. Coming up. And your opposite hip shouldn't be coming off the ground too much. You want to get the bend through the side there. Last side like this. Now on our next set, we're going to come bend over to the side, and then I want you to round your chest and actually bring your hand down to the ground. And we're going to go in a nice big circle, reaching forward, rounding, and then coming up to this side. And we're just going to go back and forth in that way. I'm really rounding here in my chest. Okay? Starting here. Leaning over to the side. Both hips are staying on the ground. I'm rotating my chest, looking forward, facing the ground, coming across, finding that place to put my arm on this side, and then opening it up here. And forward. Take it nice and slow at your own pace. Finishing up that last side, can bring it back to the center and roll up. All right. So now we're going to start getting into our spine a little bit more with some more spine segmentation. So from here, you can stay in a seated position. If it's more comfortable for you to have your legs out, however you want to have your legs, does not matter to me. I'm pretty comfortable like this. So we're going to start with our hands overhead. We're going to bend the elbows down like this while sticking out our tailbone, really arching through our whole back and trying to bring our shoulders back and down. So at the top, we're nice and straight. And then we're bending. You can let your head fall back, really trying to arch your back. And then we're going to tuck it all back in and come back up straight. Okay, let's go. Bending. A lot of activation in this one through your whole back. Arms come back overhead. And arch. And up. Doing these in a seated position, make sure that you're not relying too heavily on your lower back for that arch, because our spine naturally already curves that way there, so we don't really need to increase anymore in that area. It's usually the thoracic and the cervical spine that we don't have that mobility in. Good, coming back up and letting those arms down nice and slow. Okay, so we're gonna repeat that one more time, but this time we're gonna bend here, we're gonna come up, and then I just want you to curl forward and relax it. And then we're gonna come back up and we're gonna bend. Okay? So starting at the top, arching back, big activation. Hands come back up, and then just let yourself really curl forward, rounding through that spine. If you wanna come, lean your head forward as well. Can. Coming back up, stacking that spine back up, all the way up. Hands come back up, and big activation again. Hands coming back up, and rounding everything around. Good. One more really big activation here. Bending, squeezing everything in the back. And then the hands are going to come up, and we're going to relax and let ourselves round into that ball again. Move it around if you like. Whatever feels good in your body today. Good. Grab a quick drink, and we're going to meet in a tabletop position. Okay, if you're ready in your tabletop position, hands are positioned underneath your shoulders. Nice straight line here. Arms are straight as well. And we're just going to go for some wrist rotations first to warm these up. So keeping the arms locked out, hands in place. We're moving the upper body around just to do some light loading and see how our wrists are feeling today. You're going to go one more in this direction, and then you're going to switch and move in the opposite direction that you are. And if anybody has issues with their wrists, you can wrap them, you can tape them, or you can also just totally avoid that by going into fists when you do go into back bends, but that is something it's going to alleviate the pressure from your wrist, but you want to make sure you have something grippy on the ground so you don't slide. Okay, good. Let that out. Got some blood flowing there now. Okay, we're going in for our C stretch. So what that looks like is in our tabletop position, I'm going to take one hand, I'm going to reach across my body and out in front. And then that shoulder that is extended, I'm going to push it to the outside to stretch, and then I'm going to round it in the shape of a giant C to the ground. The arm staying nice and extended straight, and I'm articulating mostly through my back here to get a nice stretch through the back side of my shoulder. Kind of coming into my armpit at the bottom. You can take this one at your own pace as well. Pausing if you feel a sticky spot or somewhere that you feel needs more of a stretch. Go for one more up and down. And then we're going to switch sides. Reaching across the body, nice straight arm the whole time. Pushing to the outside, straight arm. Stretching the lateral body. You'll notice that I kind of arch my back at the bottom, and then I come to the top and I round. And that's just assisting and giving me a little bit of an extra stretch. Last one, up and down. All right, staying in your tabletop position, we're gonna warm up those glutes a little bit. So from your tabletop position, we're gonna lean forward slightly, bringing the knee to about your elbow, and then we're just extending it straight behind us, not opening the hips too much, keeping it nice and parallel. And then we're gonna come back forward here. We're gonna do 4 on each side, really slow. So we're looking for activation more than repetitions here, right? Okay. Starting in tabletop position, let's go. Knee to the elbow, leaning forward, and then extending out, holding in the back there for a second. Good, we're bringing it in nice and slow, really activating the abs in the front here. And then back, yeah. Nice and straight. This is 3. You can do it. Last one. Hold that extension. Bonus round. No bonus round. Bonus round. All right, let that down. We're going for the other side. You ready? Good. Knee forward. And slowly bringing it back and extending, keeping those hips nice and closed. Number 2. Extend, hold. Good, activating your glutes and your abs, holding it with your abs to the front. Slowly extending to the back. Checking those hips. Last one. Slow. Hold it. Bend the knee. Push it to the sky. All right. Bring that guy down. Burned yourself a little drink again. All right, we're gonna stretch that out. From our tabletop position, we're gonna go into a puppy stretch. So arms are nice and straight. You're gonna just drop your chest down as far as you can. If your chin can reach the ground, that's excellent. Really extending through the shoulders and keeping those elbows straight. You're gonna let your back arch, your butt's gonna go up to the sky, and you do wanna keep your hips generally above your knees in this position. Here, relaxing into this, and then at your own pace, whenever you feel like it's appropriate, you're gonna rotate in your core. You're gonna round in your back while keeping your arms straight. Really, really round. Look at your belly button, and then you're gonna undo that and let yourself go down all the way into that stretch again. So we're gonna take about 30-40 seconds here. And when you feel you're ready, you can go in for that round and then release back down into your stretch again. I like to take a big inhale when I round, and then exhale and let it all out when I arch. Last one. Good. Letting that out. Give those shoulders a little break. Still in our tabletop position. We're going with straight arms. We're going to be alternating. We're going to have one hand just touching it about your head here, and we're going to rotate and try and open up our thoracic as far as we can. So as much as you can turn and look at the ceiling. And then we're going to dip down and try and reach that elbow as far as we can to the ground without bending the other arm. So the arm stays straight the whole time. So to see that from here, it looks like I'm just trying to reach my elbow to the ground. And then I'm going to open it up as so. And we're going to do 4 on each side. Okay, starting on side number 1. Starting at the bottom, rotating up and opening that. Trying to bring that elbow up as big as you can. And then nice and slow back down. For 2. And down. 3. And last one. And down. Switching sides here. Other hand to the back. Good. And opening up for 1. Nice and slow. It's 2. 3. Last one. And 4. Good. All right, our next move is a downward dog flow. We're going to start in downward dog. We're going to move to an up dog, and we're going to do that 3 times. So setting up for your downward dog. Hands and feet are going to be shoulder width apart. If you can, get your heels on the ground and extending everything nice and straight, pushing that thoracic area, pushing the shoulders to the ground. And then just take a second here Do you feel it? See how the hips are doing? My calves are tight. Everything's doing good. And then we're going to come forward. We're going to flow through a plank. If you can, lowering yourself down. Feet are going to release. And we're going to push up to an up dog. Releasing down, using our muscles as we come down. Bringing the feet back underneath us. Pushing up and down into our downward dog. We have 2 more of these. Modify as you need to. Coming forward through our plank, lowering ourselves down. Toes tuck, back, come up. And lowering ourselves back down. Toes come back underneath, pushing up, back through to downward dog. We have 1 more. Flowing forward, lowering down. Toes pressing up. Lowering down with control. Toes tuck under. And downward dog. You can drop your knees to the ground. And just come into a little child's pose here. Grab a quick drink if you need one. Our next position is actually in this child's pose, so we're going to stay here. You can have your knees nice and wide if you like. Arms are going to be extended out in front. You can place your forehead directly on the ground. You don't need any tension in your neck. We're going to have palms open, so our thumbs are facing the ceiling. We're going to be alternating, lifting one arm and then the other. So the arms are going to stay nice and straight. We'll be lifting one arm at a time. We're going to just do 4 on each side. Okay? So you can rest your head on the ground, get a nice extension through your arms, make those thumbs face the ceiling. Arms are nice and straight. We're going to lift 1 and 1 each side. Good. 2 and 2. Don't worry if you don't get very far off the ground here. 3 and 3. Last one, 4 and 4. Good. All right. We're going to come all the way down, lying on our stomach. We're going to be placing our hands behind our head. We place our head right on the ground again. And then here, we are just activating our shoulders in an open position. So we're just opening those shoulders up and down, up and down. Let's say 6 of these. Okay? Make sure you're not having any tension in your neck. We don't need any of that. We don't need to strain our necks. Just moving the shoulders, so we're just lifting the elbows off of the ground. That's it. Okay, get in a nice comfortable position. Interlace your fingers behind your head. And then both elbows are coming up off the ground as high as you can and down. Up and down. For 3, down. 4, down. 5, down. Last one. 6, hold, and down. Good. All right. We're going to come into a lunge position. So 1 foot forward, nice low lunge. Okay, so the alternating arm leg are forward, and we're just going in for a twist. So I'm going to come and just open up here. Get a nice twist. You should feel this through your back, but also through the front of your hamstring there, yeah. Good, release that. We can switch sides. The opposite foot forward, arm to the ground. Nice twist. And make sure you're going for the twist, but you also want to be able to relax down into it and get the stretch through the front of your leg as well. All right. Letting that go. Good. We're going to come just to a seated position here, kneeling position actually. So this is I don't know what to call them, but I used to do these in dance and they're nice and challenging. They're a really good warm-up. So we're going to start in a kneeling position. And you can have your legs either all the way together or just slightly apart, like hip width apart. The more advanced version of this is going to be arms totally overhead. If that's too hard, you can just bring your hands behind your head. If that's impossible, just bring your hands in. And the whole idea is it should feel like a squat that also activates a heck of a lot of your back. So starting here, hands overhead, you're trying to maintain a nice straight line through your back, all the way to the ends of your fingers. So your hips are coming out behind you while your back is straight. And you're just going to keep your head in line. Don't strain it by lifting your head up. Just keep your head in line with your body. We're not sitting all the way back. We're going to try and stay nice and straight. See that straight line there? Yeah. If your hands are like way down here, you're trying to push them up above your head. And then we're going to come up, squeezing the glutes, squeeze, 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 and all the way up. So again, if that was like way, way too much, a little less tension if you do it here. A little less pressure. Okay. We're going to go for these. Try for 6 of these, arms overhead. Okay. Making sure that you're really activating the glutes as you come all the way back up. Keeping that nice big extension in the arms. Okay. And we're leaning forward, sticking our butt back out. And up for 1. Forward. And up. 2. Up, that's 3. Squeeze the glutes on the way up. 4. 5, 1 more. Yeah. All right. I don't know about you, but I got to get the detention out of this part here. So I'm going to go in just for a camel pose. We're not going to do anything in it. We're just going to relax. So if you want, you can lean back to grab your ankles. You can grab one, grab the other. We are going to come and try and bend. So if this is like you haven't done it before, you can start here and grab your ankles and see if you can reach at least one of them while you bring your hips forward. I like to turn my hands around so my palms are facing out. And then you're just going to kind of push your hips forward and try and breathe. Try and take some nice deep breaths in and out through the nose. Good. We're going to release that. Just let your hips come back all the way back down. Good. Come all the way forward and let that lower back release. All right. We're getting into the hip bridges and the full back bends portion. So we're going to start lying on our back. First set, our hands are just out to the sides, and we're just doing some glute bridges here, as so. We're going to go up and down, squeeze as hard as you can, as high as you can, coming down, but don't touch the ground. We're going to go back and forth for 6. Okay, so setting it up. You don't want to make sure the knees are not falling in or out, and the feet are about hip width apart. Starting here, hips are coming up, squeezing as high as you can, letting it down slowly, don't touch the ground, and back up. Good, that's 2. Down, keep an eye on those knees. 3, down, 4, down, 5. Last one. All the way to the ground. Good. This time we're just going to come up. We're going to do a few pulses at the top and see how long we can hold our back. So to start, we're just going to lift up slightly. Roll your shoulders back underneath so that you can get your hands together. And then extending the arms nice and straight, and hopefully you can get the palms all the way together. That's ideal. Arms are straight here. And we're going to pulse and push just a few times just to see how high we can get. One more good one. And slowly letting that down, letting the fingers come apart. Taking a quick little breath here. If you need to release that out, you can bend the legs, bring them into the chest. Okay, this time we're going to go ahead and grab our ankles. So if you can reach them, I like to start with reaching them on the ground, bringing them really nice and close, grabbing them here. And then from here, we're going to raise our hips up, tuck those shoulders underneath, grabbing the ankles, and then extending through and pushing the hips all the way as far as we can. Come down a little bit if you need to. And we're going to give it another good pulse here. Making sure those knees aren't falling in or out. Releasing that one. And then bringing those knees in. And letting those down. One more before we go into our full back bend. I'm going to come into a little crab pose. It's one of my favorites. So for those of you that are like really bendy and already know this entrance into your back bend, our aim here is not to go all the way into our back bend in this way. This is still for your warm up and for prepping. So we're going to come into this crab position. One arm is coming off in front of the body, and then we're reaching it around in a giant circle. And I'm not going to let my hand rotate. If I was going to go all the way into a bridge, my hand on the ground would be rotating. But here I'm just stretching and extending. If I can look and see the ground, that's great. Then I'm going to come back out, and I'm going to come back down. Okay? We're going to do a couple of those on each side, like 2 on each side, and then we're going to go for our full back bends. So starting in that crab position, keeping those hands steady. One hand comes off, reaches across the body, and just reach as far as you can. And then come back the way you were going in. Good. Switch to the other side. Reaching up. Full extension. Coming back out the way you went in. So 1 on each side. We got 1 more on each side. Last side. Good. Grab a drink of water. We're ready. Okay. So make sure you have a ground that's not too slippery, or your hands and your feet aren't going to slide on anything. We're going to start lying on our backs here. Feet and knees are all hip width apart. Hairs out of the way. Our hands are coming just above our shoulders, and they're going to face that way. So fingers are facing the shoulders. Palms are planted firmly on the ground. Everything feels nice and steady. We're going to take a deep breath and push up on the exhale. Get a feel for it. Try to extend your arms all the way straight. Try to look at the ground if you can. When you're ready, tuck your head back towards the ceiling and lower yourself back down to the ground. You can come and curl into a ball, letting all that tension go. All right. And when you're ready, give those wrists a little wake up again if you need to. We're going to set it back up, and we're going to go again. Setting up the feet, hands. Take a deep breath, and exhale, pushing up. Tucking your head when you're ready. Looking at the ceiling and coming back down. All right, if you got a little bit more gas in you want to try one more. You can try, if you can see the ceiling or the ground, you can try coming down onto your forearms if you like, or you can try starting to see what it feels like to lift 1 foot up with that. You have to displace your weight a little bit. Or you can just try and get up into another regular bridge. It's up to you, whatever you feel ready for. Okay, one last one. Setting up those hands and feet, everything's nice and stable. Take a deep breath. Exhale, push up. Tucking the head when you're done. Lowering yourself down. Bring it all back. Round yourself into a little ball. Good. When you're done, meet me unseated. All right. Got a slight little cool down for you. We're just going to do a few of our 90-90s. So my hands behind me for support. My knees are out in front, but nice and wide. Yeah, nice and wide. And then I'm just going to take both my knees and drop them to the same side. All the way until they hit the ground. Push into it there with my hips a little bit. Bring them back up. Drop them both to the ground again. Nice. Call this 90-90. We're just rotating those legs in the hip socket. Kind of resetting everything. One more. Good. Coming forward. Put our feet together. Come into our little butterfly position. Here. We can lean forward in it. Can push one side away. Push the other side away. Just seeing how that feels. Coming out of that, we got one last move. Now lay down on the ground. You can have your arms up in a cactus or straight out, however you like. We're gonna cross our legs. You can find the foot behind if you want, or just cross them. We're just gonna tip those legs all the way over to the ground. So the hip that's on the top should be the knee that's on the ground. Just getting a nice twist through our spine here. You can try starting with your arms straight. See how that feels. See if you can get both shoulders on the ground. See if maybe it feels a little bit better, or if you have, if you're tighter in the pec, it might feel better to have your elbows bent at a 90-degree. If you need a little bit more, you're gonna bind that foot behind. And also try looking over at your other shoulder. And breathing in and out through your nose. Release all the tension in your back. And we're gonna undo those legs. Coming back up. Cross the other legs over. Find the foot if you like. Tip that over all the way to the ground. Feel where the nice good twist is. Take a few breaths in and out through the nose. Just releasing all the tension in your back. Good. Unbinding those legs. Undo them. Take one more nice deep breath. And when you're ready, meet me in seated. All right, everyone. That's it. That was our Thursday backbends class. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next week.